Hey guys, we'll just wait a little bit. It's by my clock 9:13, so we'll wait a couple minutes here and then we'll get started. I'll just get a couple things set up while we're waiting to get going here. So just give me a little bit of time. Just add our PowerPoint right now to Google Classroom. So we'll do one today. Okay. Like so. All right, 1 minute left here. Okay, stop working on right now. That's gonna go right here. So the PowerPoint that we're going to go through right now, it's pretty short, but we will go through that, and then we're going to talk about your project, which you just would have received at about 9:05 is when I had it set up for you guys to get that. So let's just get that so it's open for us to take a look at. And like so. Like so. All right. Well, let's get started, everybody. So we have 3 of you here. I'm hoping we get a couple more, but it is what it is. Before we get started, any questions or anything like that for me? Okay, so today won't be a super long lesson because today I'm giving you your project, so I want to give you some time to work on that. So just a couple of the dates that we have. So today at noon, that's when I wanted your joints review sheet in. So I'll have that marked for you over the weekend, so hopefully you can have that back by Monday morning. And then that's when I open up your muscles and joints quiz. So muscle and joints will open up Monday morning, so make sure that the joints review sheet is into me today. And then your project that we're going to talk about today is due on Wednesday. And I have to just see if I can do my Google Classroom on here because I forgot my phone. And we can randomly select who does what for our project here as well. So everyone can choose their topic that they want to research on, just like we did last time. So we'll talk about that today as well. I think I can do everything I need to do with this. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, so today our goal is just to talk about conditions associated with the muscles and joints. So that won't take us very long to run through that. And then to talk about the project, so you can ask any questions you need to on that. And then you'll have that extra time to start researching and getting through that. So you can do the best you can on that project. And again, don't forget, joints worksheet was due today at noon, and you have a muscle and joints quiz that opens on Monday. All right. And there we go. Perfect. Okay. So let's get started on this then. So I'm just going to open up my PowerPoint and we will take a look. And we are Too many darn things open here. There we go. Okay. And we will start here. Perfect. All right, so what we're looking at here is just different diseases or conditions associated with our joints and our muscles, okay? So some of the conditions I'm going to talk about are on the list for the project, some are not. So here's one, it's called gout. So these are metabolic diseases, and when we talk about joints with metabolic diseases, usually it means we have too much of some kind of crystal or substance inside the joint. So this particular one here is called gout. Have any of you guys heard of gout? You heard of that term before? Familiar to anyone? I think my dad had gout at some point, and I know a person my husband works with had gout. So gout, basically your body just has too much uric acid, and sometimes this can be due to having a high-fat diet. So there's speculation that King Henry VIII, he had a fairly high-fat diet and was obese towards the end. And there's speculation that he had gout. So you have this buildup right here in the toe. So we see here, that's where that particular joint starts to swell up and be really painful. So it starts to hurt to walk, etc. So that's gout. Pseudo gout is like gout. It's just a different type of crystal. So this one is calcium pyrophosphate crystals, and they form in different joints other than just the joint in your toe. Gout, real gout with uric acid can form in other joints. It's just more prominently here, where pseudo gout can be in a lot of different types of synovial joints. Okay, let's move on here. Genetic diseases, diseases that are passed on through the genetics. So there's this one here, it's called spinal muscular atrophy. Spinal muscular atrophy basically means that the nerve message isn't getting to the muscle to signal the muscle to contract. So the muscle starts to die. So atrophy means when a muscle atrophies, it's starting to die. So you'll notice people who are in a wheelchair, become paralyzed, their legs start to look thinner and smaller, and that's because of this atrophy of the muscle, okay? There's a couple other ones that are inherited. So there's muscular dystrophy and myotonia congenita. This one is actually having too much muscle, okay? Damage to joints, this can be due to aging or an autoimmune disorder. This term, autoimmune disorder, auto means self. So an autoimmune disorder means that your immune system's actually attacking itself. And that's the case with rheumatoid arthritis. So my mother-in-law, actually, and her brother, and I have an uncle from my other side that I'm related to, who has rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so it can make the movement of the joints really, really difficult. Osteoarthritis is caused when the cartilage between the bones starts to break down. So that means if the bones come into contact, they don't slide against one another nicely because of the nice slippery cartilage there. They hit one another, and it gets to be quite painful and difficult to move those joints. Another one's a herniated disc. So what we're seeing here is what your intervertebral disc is supposed to look like. And then here, what we see is this becomes compressed, and the material that's usually on the inside of the disc starts to come out, and it's herniated, and that can cause excruciating pain in the back. Okay, spasms. So we've probably all experienced some kind of muscle spasm. So a spasm, your muscle or group of muscles starts to contract and doesn't really relax. It just keeps contracting, okay? If that spasm goes on and on and on and isn't stopping, it's referred to as a cramp. Our leg muscles are the ones that are more prone to cramping. So that would be like our quads, our hamstrings, and our calf muscles. Now, this can happen for all sorts of reasons. It could mean that you're not getting enough to drink. It could mean that you don't have enough electrolytes. It could mean that you're overusing the muscle. For me, my worst cramping that I ever had was when I was pregnant with my first child. And in the middle of the night, my calf muscle would just start to cramp up, and it would be hugely painful. And I had to take my toes of my foot, pull them towards my body, and stretch that muscle really fast. If I stretched it really fast, the cramping would stop. But it hurt to stretch it. So yeah, so that's a muscle cramp. So Charlie horse is usually the term we use when we talk about it. Often we talk about a Charlie horse just being in our quadriceps. And then we can also have muscle spasm in our smooth muscle. So often when we think about muscle cramping, we think about cramping in our skeletal muscle, which is the muscle that's attached to our skeleton, but it can happen in our smooth muscle. Here's the problem. When that smooth muscle starts to contract, the structure it's contracting on is usually filled with air or fluid, so it's not going to compress very well, and that causes a lot of pain. So colic is usually the term that's used when we have a spasm in our intestinal wall. So this will happen sometimes with babies. When we hear about babies being colicky, that's what's going on. And so they're cramping in their intestinal wall, and it's causing them some pain. Okay. All right, infections can happen to our joints or our muscles. So here's an example of an infection in a joint. So this is referred to as septic arthritis. So I talked about osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. This is a different one called septic arthritis. Basically, it's still affecting our joints, but now it's a bacterial or a fungal or viral infection. Okay, and then injuries. So injuries, we see in our joints and our muscles. So a strain is when we have an overstretch or tear in a muscle or a tendon. So that's when we have a strain. So when we talked about our Achilles tendon having a tear or rupturing, that is a strain. Okay. A sprain is a tear or rupture of ligaments. So if we sprain our ankle, so this is an example of a sprained ankle, we see that the ligaments have some tears in them, so those ligaments are going to have to heal. A dislocation means the bones that normally kind of fit nicely together in our joint are no longer in their normal position. So here we see an example of a dislocation of the shoulder. So the humerus has moved out of position of the scapula here. And then that causes a lot of pain, okay, until that gets put back into position. Because imagine, I mean, all they're showing is the bones here, but imagine they're connected by tendons and joints, and when they move apart, there's overstretching of all of those tissue that's helping to keep those bones together at the joint. Okay, bursitis. So bursitis is when we have an inflammation of a bursa. So we see bursitis here in an elbow. So remember, the bursa are those little sacs that are filled with synovial fluid, and they help alleviate tension. Okay. And then we have tendinitis, which is an inflammation of a tendon. So this isn't tearing of a tendon, but it's inflammation of a tendon, which again can cause an incredible amount of pain because it makes it difficult to move that joint. So what I found here is just some common sports injuries. So I thought we'd watch that because that's the injuries that we have. And usually the injuries in sports have something to do with our joints. So we'll just open that up here. And I will put my share.
So Lit Mobile just sent me this solar wireless battery pack. I'm excited, let's see what's inside. I really like the build.
Runner's knee. Runner's knee is a condition characterized by pain behind or around the kneecap. It is caused by overuse, muscle imbalance, and inadequate stretching. Symptoms include pain under or around the kneecap, pain when walking. They protect the ankle from rolling of the foot. Include pain and difficulty with ankle. Each of your knee pieces of cartilage that act. Meniscus tear, take your knee, stiff swelling, pain in your knee of your knee. Rotator tear.
He has a torn baby and by team doctors on.
And helps to lift and rotate. Caused by your arm off of. Symptoms include pain when lifting and lowering, weakness or rotating arm, pain when lying on the tear.
Disciplines go up, left hand, the shot, and
Randomly in the middle of the knee and provide stability. Your foot and the slightly bent. Slow down when running or landing from each piece of severe pain in the knee and around the knee.
Those are just sports. All right. Here. And
Hey, for you chiros out there, try this shit drunk. So, this is a scalp.
Let me just shut this off so we're not listening to it. There we go. Sorry, guys. Back to this. Okay, so that's the end of the PowerPoint. So those are just some conditions that are associated with the musculoskeletal system. We can look how they're due to injuries or infection or genetics or metabolics. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the project, and you guys are here, so you get first kick at choosing which project you're going to do. So I just need to quickly write down who we've got here. Ethan, Harleen, Janine, Jason, Chloe, Kenzie, McKenna, Reese, and Rodney. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to bring this up so we can talk a little bit about what the expectations are, and then we'll pick our topics here. So there we are. So I basically set this up exactly the same way as I set up the cardiovascular system. So I think most of you did a Google slide, which is just fine. If you want to do a poster, brochure, whatever, all of those are fine. Just remember that I need to get them digitally, okay? So there's a list of different conditions here. I'm just going to point out, I've got spinal muscular atrophy. I say to pick one because there's different versions of it. You do not have to research all the versions. Just pick one that interests you and research that one. Okay. So what do you need to do? Identify the signs and symptoms of the musculoskeletal condition. Again, these are written in your own words. So if there's a science-y kind of word there, make sure you're defining it. Most of you did a great job with that. With our previous project. At minimum, there should be 4 signs and/or symptoms indicated. Okay, describe the cause of the musculoskeletal system. So with cause, you're actually doing 2 things. So why did it happen, right? Maybe it happens as a result of injury or poor diet or genetics, but also what is it as far as what's going on with the body that's leading to this condition, right? Are the muscles breaking down or what have you? So you're looking at 2 parts when you're answering that question. And the cause of the condition, obviously, this is all in your own words, right? Okay, identify, describe the procedures and/or techniques. So identify means you're giving me the name of the procedure, but describe what is that procedure doing? What is the point of that procedure? How is it helpful? Okay, so used to diagnose the musculoskeletal conditions, and then how it works, that's in your own words, okay? Number 4, identify and describe the therapy or therapies used. So again, identify is the name, but the description is now, what is it? What is it doing? How is it assisting this musculoskeletal condition that the individual has? Identify a body system other than the musculoskeletal system that's negatively affected. All right, so this one might not be something that you can just find when you research it. This is one maybe you just have to think through. So remember, we learned about 11 different body systems. So musculoskeletal, that's our muscular and skeletal, skeleton system together. So that means there are 9 other body systems. Maybe it affects the respiratory system. Maybe it affects the nervous system, right? This particular condition, disorder, injury, right? So what other system is it going to affect? So this is something that you might just have to think through rather than trying to research it and come up with something that makes sense, right? So not only are you identifying a body system that could be affected, but how is it affected in a negative way? Okay, so you want to explain that. Why would you think? So this doesn't necessarily have to be something that you found on the internet or read about. Think about it. What would be affected if? And then why would it be affected? Why would this be a problem? Okay. And then at least 4 relevant images. So the images have to be related to your topic. And again, like I said for the last one, it could be the part of the body that's damaged. It could be an image of a technology, an image of a therapy that's used for treating or to diagnose, anything like that. This is pretty open-ended. It's just to help increase the understanding of your topic, okay? All right, so now I'm going to go down here to the bottom. So a proper reference list. So I showed you how to use Citation Machine last time. This is to do a proper citation. A proper citation isn't just the URL or the website address. You want to dig a little deeper than that. So I took 1 mark off for students that didn't do the proper citation. If you didn't do any citations at all, I took 5 marks off. Okay, because you have to cite your work. Where did you get your information from? Okay, so this isn't particularly difficult, but it is something that is expected of you. And as you get into higher levels, it becomes more and more expected of you. Okay, all right, so before we pick topics, are there any questions about the expectations of the project? Okay, so I'm just going to go back up here then, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Bring out a pen. What are we at here? So, okay, so I have my list of who's here today. So we will pick our topics. So my first one on my list is Ethan. So Ethan, you can just put in the chat which one you would like to research. Okay. So you can actually see which of these topics are the one you would like to research. So I did share this with you guys on Google Classroom about 9:05. I think I had it automatically share. Okay, so Ethan's got a topic picked here, and he has chosen shin splints. All right, so shin splints is for Ethan. All right, I'll just write his name here in shorthand, so just Ethan. So Ethan's got shin splints, so that is gone. Okay, my next person on my list is Mackenzie. Oops. Mackenzie is next. Okay, and Mackenzie has chosen the cleft palate. Okay, and let's just find this on here, cleft palate. Okay, so cleft palate is for Mackenzie. All right, I'll just write it here so I have it, cleft palate. Okay, next on my list, Jason. Let's make this smaller so we can actually. Okay, and Jason has chosen osteoarthritis. Okay, so let's write that here. Jason. Okay. All right, next on my list here is Harleen. Harleen. Now, last time I said I was going to share this with the class, and I chose not to afterwards, so I think I'm not going to share these with the class. So this will just be me marking it. So rheumatoid arthritis goes to Harleen. So that's rheumatoid arthritis. That's the condition that my mother-in-law has. We'll just write that here. So that's Harleen. Okay, next on my list is Rodney. Okay, and Rodney has chosen herniated disc. That is a common injury. Okay, so Rodney's got herniated disc. Oops. Sorry, guys. This. There we are. Next on my list is now we're getting to people that aren't here. McKenna. What is next? Okay, and McKenna has chosen scoliosis. Okay, so that's McKenna. Okay, next on my list is Janine. Okay, and Janine has chosen Paget disease. Okay, so that's Janine. Okay, I've got 3 more of you guys here. Next we have Alina. Next is Alina. Okay, and Alina's chosen rotator cuff injury. Okay, and that's Alina. Okay, next we have Carly. And Carly is chosen osteogenesis imperfecta. Okay, so that's Carly. And then last on my list of who we have here is Reese, so go ahead, Reese. Okay, and Reese has chosen muscular dystrophy. Oh, I put that on my list twice. Whoops. I'll get it off the list here. Reese. Perfect. Okay, and that is it for all of you guys. So any last minute questions about this? Okay, well, feel free to email me anytime if you have a question, and hopefully I can help you walk through this process. I think we got everybody, so good luck with your research. So we're going to end 15 minutes early. That gets you a good start on doing some research, and then you can maybe even get this out of your hair before the weekend. All right, guys, so enjoy your weekend. We will see you Monday. Remember, your joints review is due today, and you have a muscle joint quiz on Monday. All right? Okay, take care of yourselves, and we will see you on Monday. See you, Harleen. You have a great weekend too, Rodney.